Hello everyone, I'm Mithra. Where is Season 2? uh, well, I know I mentioned that I'm going to go right into Season 2, and that is still the plan. As I've said in episode 49, there will be an episode 50, and I am currently writing episode 50. It's taking me a little bit to finish it, but I've gotten to a point where I'm getting to the end of what I wanted to do. So just to explain again, what episode 50 is it's going to be a recap of season 1. Retelling the stories that mainly really stood out, and bringing in a narrative to go into season 2. So yes, that involved me going back and watching a lot of season 1 again, and picking out the parts that have narrative standouts. Good thing I've done that. And now I've gotten to the point where I want to write the ending. But as I said in episode 49, the season 2 wouldn't exist at all without the support of everyone who watches all my videos. And that is absolutely amazing. And I'm so thankful and so humbled for that. And I really do want to try to include everyone who comments on anything. And it's transcended past just my playthrough. I want to ensure that season 2 is everyone's playthrough. And with that said, season 2, I want to make it more narrative and engaging. And I just want to share my ideas with you. Because Kingdom Death is a game that the lore is very vague and can be interpreted in other ways. So I don't want to push a narrative that alienates the lore as I interpret it or someone else interprets it, things like that. So I'm just going to share my ideas, and I highly encourage you to comment. So what this video is going to be is a catch-all for all the comments before season 2 begins. I'll continue to check this video's comments regardless of when you're watching it, or regardless of how often you comment, or come back to it and comment again. I will try to check this all the time. I mean, I'll get the notification that there's been comments and stuff. So, on this video, you should make any kind of suggestion you have for it, and I'll explain what season 2 will be right now, but one of the biggest suggestions that I've gotten from comments that you don't even realize how big of an impact it has would be this comment. Bing. I'll edit it in. Yeah, look at that comment from 11 months ago, where someone suggested that I should rename the girl who was using the bow to Lightning. And I had already named her, so I wasn't going to rename the character, but I went ahead and said, well, I'll name an unnamed survivor, or I'll name the next born survivor, I'll name that person Lightning. And then in the next episode is when I used the ringtail fox white box to get the infant child from the river of blood, and that's who I named Lightning. It just so happened to be that I saw that comment and I just named it right on there. And that character turned out to have huge influence in the season. So it's just amazing to me, and one of the main reasons why I really wanted to make this, to include everyone. Everyone's going to have better ideas than like I could have. So like all those little things, stuff like that gets included, that's absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping that happens again. So again, leave comments on this video about any survivor names you want to do. I have the first 3 or 4 survivors already named because I'm just because those are the ones I'm going to take for season 2. So those names will be Lightning, which is one of the names. Then I'm just going to take names of people who have helped me the most throughout season 1, who've commented on every single video, who've helped me with rules. So I was thinking that the other three names I was probably going to do would be Joe, Bill, and Mordor. But if you don't want, I'm sure people will see this name and they'll probably comment on the video. If you don't want me to use that name, you know who you are. You can write a different comment, suggest a different name, and I'll use that name instead. But those are definitely 3 names I will be using. So those are only 4 of, I don't know, I had like 39, I think, total survivors in season 1. So there's plenty of names that it can get suggested. I'll look through them all. So like I said, comment below. But what is season 2? I always get asked all the time to do lore videos. I would love to do stuff where I just talked about lore and stuff, but the lore is so elastic. I think I went into this before when I did one of the Let's Talk videos. The lore is so elastic in Kingdom of Death that it could just be right and wrong the next day. It could just change on a whim. Some of it is very concrete, but some things that you think are concrete turn out not being concrete. Like I said, the biggest example, one of the things that really turned me off of really studying the lore would have been what happened with the Hand and the King and Kingsman and the Gamblers. Like, the entities have been changed around, lores around them have been changed or just forgotten or not included. Like, there's no Kingsman and Gamblers. Anyway, stuff like that. So it's not that I'm not interested in the lore, which I am. I'm very interested in the lore and the setting itself, but as far as talking about it and going right and wrong, it's not for me. I find it too elastic and too vague. But that's just me. I'm sure there's much people who figured it all out and can probably tell me in the comment section about how much stuff there actually is. But I only go on what's written, and then I interpret it and hope I'll use it at that moment in time. I'm sure somewhere it's been changed, some interview somewhere, some comment somewhere. He's probably changed the lore. So that's the thing about it, is it's just weird like that, or it was changed in some vague hinting in a hunt event that I didn't pay much attention to, which has happened. Some lore has changed via hunt events. So for season 2, I'm going to do Twilight Knight in training. I was originally going to do a Sunstalker campaign with the Twilight Knight in training rules, but Hit Points Gaming is doing a Sunstalker playthrough. They're doing so. Hit Points Gaming is a great Kingdom of Death channel. I highly recommend everybody go watch that. They're going to do a great playthrough for people of the Sun. I don't want to overlap that, so I've just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go back to Twilight Knight in training. The good thing about Twilight Knight in training is it can end abruptly because you have to take the Twilight Knight out every time. You have to take the Twilight Knight out, and if something happens to the Twilight Knight, if they die, it's over, which is great. And it's also something I could plug and play for 1.6, and bad dice rolls might just end it, and maybe that will be great. Maybe maybe it will just suddenly die, or maybe I'll just suddenly die before 1.6 even gets out, and then that will lead me to restart 1.6. That'd be great. Or maybe Gambler's Chest will surprisingly get here this year. Maybe. If that happens, then Twilight Training is perfect for that. So Twilight Knight training really fits. Also, so the narrative that I'll be going for, you'll see in episode 50. The plan is to have Lightning continue and become the Twilight Knight in training. And I'll write the whole lore about that and the whole narrative for her and how she carries over to season 2. She'll be the only one for season 2. So also I want to make season 2 have a different feel. So I'm trying to redo graphics and things. So let me pull up some of the reworking on graphics that I've done. So here is a mock one right now. This might be a season 2 character sheet. I've redone the original character sheets. There's actually a white border around this that you can't see. It's about as thick as the one that's around the lightning picture here. So this would be one idea I'm tossing around for season 2 things. As you can see, lightning here. I've changed the character arts. I will be using the 3D modeling art as much as I can to make characters instead of going back to just using the 2D sprites, 2D portrait sprites. So like I said, I want to make sure season 2 has a different feel. So it's noticeable that things have changed. It's definitely a new season. So you can see here is Lightning. She's wearing her Twilight Order, the cloak, the Twilight cloak, and she's got her Twilight armor on. But she's still the same. I've retained her eye color, her hair color, her eyebrow color. I know she kind of looks like Lightning from Final Fantasy 13 now, but that's not who it is, as I showed with that one comment. I just named it. She's actually named because I suck at rolling with dice with bows, which was a carryover throughout the entire season. I never really found out how to do that. My bow users always should have been doing more damage than they were, but whatever. So again, this is just one mock-up, so I have a lot of graphics to redo before Season 2 can come. Like I said, I still want to do episode 50, which is what I'm hoping to get out right away. And so let's talk about Twilight Knight lore real quick. So here I have open the Vibrant Lantern lore section. The Vibrant Lantern lore section uses the old like brown boxes. They always came with inserts for little lore blurbs. So here you can see is the Twilight Knight one. This is also the same thing that's attached to Allison. I think. So the same lore here. It describes what a Twilight Knight is. So the Twilight Knights Order once protected the recorded knowledge of humanity in Kingdom Death. Now in shambles, the Twilight Knights, with their archivists, struggle to keep the tiny flame of knowledge alive. Initiates to the Twilight Knight Order are permanently altered to protect their minds from the horrors they face in their quest. That's a writing weird thing here. It's not written right, I doubt, but maybe it is actually written like that. Detached and unfeeling, they are prepared to pay any cost to salvage and protect the valuable records of wisdom that remain in the world. So, that's what a Twilight Knight is. Twilight Knights are always accompanied by archivists. So, to do a Twilight Knight in training, and to do as much narrative as I can, the Twilight Swords and stuff, well, I'll go into the whole thing. So you can see here, it clearly says that initiates, which would be a Twilight Order in training, they're altered, right? Their minds are probably wiped, so that would allow a character to carry over without carrying over any of their fighting arts or anything. They're basically given a blank slate. So here's an Order Knight. The Order Knight is a paragon of the Twilight Order. Surviving countless battles with the darkness and within himself, he has powerful control over the relics, and the blank slate of his mind remains sound. So they even use the name blank slate. He bears the most treasured gear of the Order. So all these people are going to carry the Twilight Swords. And like it says right here, he is a blank slate. Twilight Knights once protected recorded knowledge of humanity and King of Death, now in shambles. The Knights, with their partner and Iris, struggle to keep the time, blah, blah, blah. So, as you can see, archivists also play a big role in what a Twilight Knight is. So, next we have the Twilight Relic Knight. The Relic Knight has lost control to the personality living inside his relic sword. So, that's what sentient gear is. There is certain gears that has that sentient thing that you need to be insane to wield, and if you're not insane, I don't know, the sword must speak to you. Either way, the relic sword has no consideration for the lost knight's body. He sheds his bulky, restrictive armor, choosing light, simple clothes to keep his movement fast and unrestricted. He fights with furious disregard for his corporeal well-being, pushing his muscles to the absolute limits. So that's a knight who's succumbed to, whatever the sword must be speaking, or whatever the sword's control, he's succumbed to it. And that's why their minds are blanked, theoretically. So here's the Archivist. Stories lament the fall of the Grand Library in hushed tones. The surviving archivists and their sworn knights fled, clutching precious armfuls, all that remains of knowledge assembled by humanity. Today the Twilight Order is scattered, working in isolating pairs to do and record what little good they can. So, again, this would be an archivist. So they work in pairs. So with the Twilight Knight in training, once you're part of the Twilight Order, you have an archivist, right? They follow you around. They work in pairs. So it would make sense that not only if I'm going to do season 2 and I'm going to do it narratively, with Lightning being the one who's the initiative, I would have to have an archivist or someone who would become an archivist as part of the story too, which would only make sense because the way Twilight Knight in training, the campaign begins, is it's just like regular People of the Lantern campaign, except for one person has the Twilight Sword at the beginning. Now, I'll do a couple more things to change that. With the Allison white box, you get the Blue Lantern and the cloak. I'll also have that for her and things. So that will be the way it starts. And I would assume one of those 4, I'm thinking, instead of starting with 3 other people in the Twilight Knight, I would start with Twilight Knight, a potential Archivist, and then 2 random survivors to start. So that's what I'm thinking to do. And then let's look at the Deserter here. So the Deserter Knight has experienced trauma so horrible that it destroys the Twilight Order's mind locks that remove the memories and personality of initiates. See, again, this plays back into how I will carry Lightning over. She will be a complete blank slate. Like I said, I've written up to the point of the end here. So another reason why I want to do this video is to pass the question off to people is to how much homebrew do people want to see, or how much are you okay with as carrying a character over that's not how it's supposed to be done. That's just something I'm doing. And then there are other things like adding the white box stuff. I'm more so interested in telling the story more so than playing it as it's written, but I won't do any of the rules. It's just how much storytelling or narrative are people comfortable with me introducing into it. So, again, I'm going to try to play into all of this. So, again, suddenly faced with their humanity and unprotected from the horrors they face, the Deserter will often flee. Without the careful aid of an Archivist, the Deserter loses control of the Relic hood and sword which tortures the Deserter. In order to continue wielding the relics, Deserters will often turn their hoods into tattered bandages and chain their swords to their bodies. See, that's much like the Butcher. Forsakers do the same thing. They chain their weapons to their wrists and things. It's much like the Butcher does. So it's these sentient weapons really have an effect on people's minds in the world of Kingdom Death, and often leads to them chaining themselves, or their weapons to themselves. Now, with this, the Deserter specifically, the story as it was told, watch the entirety of season 1, there's a duality within the stories which I tried to tell. There was the way that Kenna viewed the Butcher, and there's the way that Lightning viewed the Butcher. They both viewed the same exact thing in different ways. The power of a Butcher is immense, and the fact that someone could survive for so long in a harsh world by themselves, the way Lightning took it was one way, the way Kenna took it was another. So I'll play in with the Deserter, even though she has the mind blanked. So you had the way I'll write the story is, what is it that comes back to Lightning through her life? Because remember, she did, spoilers, I guess, here. I don't know why you'd be watching this if you didn't watch the entirety, or if you just don't care about the season 1 narrative. But Lightning did end up murdering Kenna. So those will be the kind of things that are unlocked throughout the season. As I change, as she fights Butcher and stuff, maybe I'll add story to her threshold breaking down, her memories being unlocked, things like that. Twilight Knights has no one, and there's the Weaponsmith. Again, Weaponsmiths I can't really play into. There's nothing to do with Weaponsmiths. I don't even know what they are. The weapon designer of the Twilight Order, mysterious man behind the creation of the Twilight Swords. Cyclops Knight gather its chosen artisans for testing of crafting skill. The Order's Weaponsmith forges the Twilight Swords that accompany the Order Knights, masters of a unique process that yokes sentience to the masterful crafted blades. I mean, I don't know. That could be anything. So these people craft the swords. I don't know. There's really nothing else there. I'm sure someone else could tell me the lore behind all of it, maybe what the swords are, who they're linked to or whatever. But from that, it's very vague. Could be anything, and I'm just not seeing it. Again, so that's what I'm going to do for season 2. Once I finish writing for episode 50, that's where I'll take it. And then as to how much homebrew or things get introduced into season 2, I don't know. If you don't mind seeing a lot of homebrew, or if you don't mind, me playing with lore and playing with narrative, taking it in a different direction, just to explore something to make it different. Because I'll be playing People to Lantern a second time. Now, as to what exactly a Twilight Knight initiate would have to fight, what exactly training consists of, I'm assuming it just culminates in defeating a Watcher. So I'm going to stop it at Lantern Year 20. There's no real need for me to go fight the Gold Smoke Knight again, or to go all the way past those. The training will be up at the earliest convenience to fight the Watcher, because why would anybody want to prolong their training? You fight the Watcher. That's what you're training to do. You're training to become a knight. You want to fight. You need to kill those Watchers. Stop the corruption that destroyed the Holy Lands and all that stuff. That's where it lies. So she would do it right away. The second she even saw it beginning to form, the cocoon coming out of its cocoon and everything, she would fight it right away. Lantern Year 20. So again, that also leaves the door open. If I make it all the way to Lantern Year 20, maybe I will. Who knows? It could be very difficult. Like I said, a bad roll could really end a Twilight Knight in training, because if that knight dies, the campaign's over. So there's that. But again, ending in Lantern Year 20, not going all the way to the Gold Smoke Knight again, nothing new. There's no new events there. There's no new story. Nothing changes. So what quarries would you like me to add to Season 2? I was going to add Sunstalker, Slenderman, probably do Gigalion more, because I really want to do the dagger. I was thinking, instead of doing spears and all that stuff, the proficiencies, I'd try to change those up too. I'd probably want to go focus more a little bit on axes, so I'd probably use the 10th anniversary axe. I want to try to do dagger. That's why I want to do Gigalion, so I could actually get the dagger. I don't need to oxidize, or do I need to oxidize to get that dagger? No, I think the bow is or would I need to oxidize to get that dagger? Either way, I can use the dagger from the 10th anniversary too. So I want to try daggers out. I think that'd be very neat. The other thing is I'm going to set a lot more goals and stuff. Be more focused on what I'm going to do for every episode. Maybe have like a quest tracker as to what I'm doing, which will mostly be strain unlocks or pursuing certain fighting arts, things like that. Do partake in certain builds. So I'll make more goal focused. Now, the other thing I want to do before I start Season 2 is finish the homebrew that I wanted to give out to everybody. And I went really hard on this. Like the amount that is in it. It sounded really easy in my head to begin with. I was like, well, I'm just going to do, a little homebrew thing that works with core only. So the homebrew I'm designing works with core. The 1.5, 1.6, whatever. You only need the core game. That's all you need, nothing else. And I'm going to make it so you don't need any print-and-play stuff. No anything outside of it. You can play it on your phone. That's my goal. On a tablet, on a phone, it will just be a PDF and it's ready to go. There's nothing else included, any of that stuff. And I also want to make sure it works in Tabletop Simulator. So that's the other thing I really want to finish before Season 2. I'm working on it. I'm really focused on it now to get it done. After, of course, I finish with episode 50, and I'll write the ending depending on how much people actually want to see a Twilight Knight in training campaign. If people don't want to see it, then episode 50 will be not including any of that stuff. So let me pull up, I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about with this homebrew, because I know I've been talking about it for the last 5 episodes. So this is, it's going to be a Wanderer. I've really enjoyed the Wanderer system. I think the Wanderer system is one of, like the pattern system, I think the Wanderer system is really good because of, all those white boxes and everything. I'm real excited for the Wanderer system. It's not the thing I'm most excited about, obviously, but the Wanderers I think are a very good thing because if done correctly, you could really add value to those white boxes, and it's the kind of thing that you could add to the store. Like every Black Friday, a new Wanderer could come out, or 2. It's simple content that is actually content. Unlike not that the white boxes aren't, but they're mostly just like one piece of gear. But this is something you could actually include, which is like an expansion. So I wanted to try my hand at making a Wanderer. So this will be it. Here it is. So her name is Curse. Again, the play on words here is she's the, I think this is Gladiator from Echoes of Death 2, is the model, is the artwork I'm using. and she's named Curse because she is afflicted with King's Curse, and I'm just following the tropes that are there for luck. As Luck the Wanderer, he just deals with luck. As you can see, his deal is the natural ones and natural tens, the cardinal staff and stuff. So they're very basic naming tropes. So I just followed up that, and again, this is just designed to work with your core game. As you can see, it will just have here. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because I don't want to spoil it, and I will make a video on it once I'm finished. I just want to show you how this got out of hand really quickly on me and how I really do want to finish it. So Curse was always destined for greatness. This will be also another way of me playing with lore, even though I know a lot of people always want me to do lore videos. I get comments on that all the time, but so I'm trying to include a lot of the lore in here just so I can discuss it, so you can experience what is actually there for some of the lore, and then when I make the video on the whole thing. So none of this will be spoilers for the whole thing, so this is just the front page and how you include it into the game. So if you're worried about when I actually do get this whole thing out, if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, this is not a spoiler. So Curse was always destined for greatness, born with a noble surname and deemed a worthy successor to her settlement's throne. Her moment of rebirth had consumed all her previous... Oh yeah, I have the thing here. For all of her previous sins and injuries, she was ready for the final stage of her transformation. Everything was going according to plan until the armored strangers arrived. Although victorious in battle, Curse found herself in a position of defeat. Delivering the killing blow to the monster left her cursed. The tyrant who watched over the settlement could not allow her to stay with an impure body. Curiously, the tyrant did not kill Curse. Instead, she was banished to walk the plane of stone faces alone. It would be a matter of time before Curse would enter, or would either be killed by a monster or become one herself. So, how to use this? Again, the Wanderer is designed to be added to the Kingdom Death Monster core game. So Wanderer can also work in campaigns that include the Butcher, this level 2 encounter for the Butcher in Lantern Year 16, and the Kingsman that has a level 2 encounter in Lantern Year 19. So what that means is this couldn't work in like a... Actually, I don't think this could work in People of the Stars or People of the Sun as it's written right now. It could work in the Gambler's Chest if you replaced the Atlas with Kingsman. Then this could work in Gambler's Chest because the story events are around the Butcher and they're around Kingsman. Those two specifically, and they line up where those nemesis go. People of the Sun does not have those nemesis encounters where they are, and I don't think People of the Stars has the nemesis encounters either because of the Tyrant. They are also not in these years. That's why it needs to be both in Lantern Year 16 and a level 2 encounter in Lantern Year 19. So it basically just works in core, but could work in the future and other things. To add Curse to your campaign, you add the Final Girl story event found in this book to Lantern Year 16 on the timeline. If your campaign is beyond Lantern 16, you cannot include this Wanderer. I'll quickly go. So here's an example of what I've done for Final Girl. This would be spoilers. I don't want to read through the whole thing, but as you can see here, I've done all kinds of events here. So mainly, this is the one I really wanted to get to. So here's the table of contents. As you can see here, it turned out to be 23 pages. There's quite a bit there which are not completely done, but I am working on it. So that is the thing that I have been working on, trying to get done. As I've been saying, I want to finish that before I start season 2 as well. I think I'm on 17 now of the 23. I'm trying as much as I can. I don't want to just rush it out. I want to make sure everything goes. I want to get it play tested. That's the CCG team has been so nice. They've been helping me with so much. My Discord also helping me with everything. So I need to get it play tested there, but it's turning out pretty good. I hope so. I don't know. I'm biased, obviously. But season 2 is coming. So, again, thank you so much. It's so amazingly humbling. Season 2 would not exist without everyone else's input and support and all that stuff. I probably would not even have bothered going to season 2 or doing another one. It is so very humbling. And again, leave in the comments section how you feel about Twilight Knights, what you think of Twilight Knight in training would actually have to fight, what quarries you feel, how it should play out. I mean, I'm open to doing all kinds of stuff. If you think they should have to overcome settlement events, if you think all those kind of things. The only rule I'm thinking of changing would be that when the Twilight Knight returns, they can't be the target of murder, because I'm forced to take the Twilight Knight out every single time based on the rules of Twilight Knight training. They have to go out every single time. They still gain experience. They just have ageless, so they'll still gain and still age up and all that stuff. So if I were to draw murder, they would be killed instantly. And just there's no way around it. They're always going to have the highest hunt experience. So that's the only rule I'm thinking of changing for the murder event. There might be other settlement events, but I can't think of them right now because I haven't gone through completely to get ready for Season 2. But Season 2 is coming. I'm sorry for the delay. It may feel like I postponed it, but I really didn't. I really did just really want to get these other things done. I really wanted to make sure that everything felt different. I wanted to make sure I redid graphics, spent extra time to really put in the efforts for Season 2 does feel different. Also going to do different camera angles and things. I'm sure people have noticed, well, you bought second camera. You've been doing settlement event with a second camera. How come you didn't change some camera angles for playthrough? And for hunts and stuff. Well, I've been saving it for Season 2. So Season 2 will have a definitively different feel. So again, thank you so much for watching. It's so very humbling. I look forward to finally getting these things out so everybody can enjoy extra stuff. It's just a way for me to get back or give back to things like I did with the video on my storage. Any way that you want to interact with me, comment on this video, and I will reply to everything I can. As long as it takes until Season 2 starts, even if it's like 4 weeks from now. That's actually when it is. I'm trying to shoot for 3-4 weeks from now. So hopefully all this stuff will be out and I'll have the videos done. So it is coming. Thank you so much for your patience. It's so humbling. And I can't wait for Season 2.